Hey Pony, what's up?
Tailsthehero.
JTH, and today we are going to be starting fan fiction that was requested to us called Her Whole Darn Heart.
This is by Crowley, we believe. You can read this on fimfiction.com.
.net.
.net.
And for what we know, it's a human and Applejack fanfic.
I think it's kind of like a Twy-and-Me type thing, but
possibly.
We'll have to figure it out. So we're going to read it, actually. Well, he's going to read it. I suck at reading, so
yeah.
I'll try.
And the chapters aren't really that long, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chapters, so we're going to do at least 2 chapters per recording, so this will be 4 parts.
Probably going to be 4 videos, and, well, let's do it.
Here we go, Her Whole Darn Heart by Crowley.
Okay.
Why don't you just ask him out? A low voice mumbles from behind Applejack's shoulder. She quickly turns her head from looking out the window to see her brother, a gentle giant known as Big Macintosh, standing behind her. The heat in Applejack's face rises when it occurs that he's been watching her ogle the mysterious figure relaxing outside that whole time. How long were you standing there for? Long enough to know my little sister's daydreaming about. Ah, horse apples. The orange mare, out of nervousness, rearranges the brown Stetson hat sitting atop her head. Macintosh, believe me, I truly wasn't expecting myself to get all mushy over the what? Biped, alright. It just kinda happened.
That's true about Big Mac now. She is like a gentle giant.
I ain't one to judge, Applejack, Macintosh says, using a short, simple words to ease her sister's stress as efficiently as possible. That's Macintosh for you.
Yep.
It's your life, after all. Can you say you have feelings for our friend taking a nap outside, even if he ain't a pony?
It did say it was human, so...
So that's the human, I guess.
Yeah.
Applejack doesn't hesitate on that. Of course I do. Don't ask me how, but I do. I'm still worried, Big Mac. What would Granny think if I started dating him? She's always wanted me to find the perfect stallion, and ain't no stallion out there. How will the other ponies in town react? I know my friends want me to be with them, but every pony else in Ponyville is scared rigged of this guy. What if Macintosh raises a single hoop to stop her? Sorry. If you honestly can say that you like who you like, then species shouldn't matter to you or any pony else, Macintosh simply states. Just look at Cousin Brayburn. He's dating a buffalo and we're all for it, even Granny. Sure, there are ponies in Appaloosa who object to it, but they don't see the love involved. Don't let others force you to stop something you like. We just want to see you live a happy life, little sis.
Damn right.
Aw, that's sweet of Big Mac.
Well, he's Big Mac. What do you expect?
True. She takes a deep breath, allowing what Macintosh told her to sink in. Thanks, big brother. You come out with real smart things whenever you feel like talking. The two share a short, sweet sibling hug. Aww. The Apple family can always rely on each other, but Applejack plans what to do next. Before Applejack plans what to do next.
I'm gonna this is gonna be really stupid, but today is Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday, and tomorrow is actually Mother's Day. So go out and buy your mom something nice.
So, what do you want me to go out there and tell that human that a pony has a major crush on him, or should I just wait until tonight at his welcome shindig?
What? Well, it must be welcoming.
Must be a welcome party thrown by Pinkie Pie.
I cannot talk. Ugh.
Must be a welcome party thrown by Pinkie Pie.
Pinkie Pie party.
Yeah. Your friends will all be there tomorrow night. Might be easy for you. Alright, Big Mac. And picture.
Yeah, picture. That's cool. He puts pictures into his fictions. I like that.
Yeah. The sun slowly falls in the horizon, the sunset causing the whole orchard to glow a soft shade of orange. You're lying with your back against one of the many apple trees, eyes closed, looking at the last of the sun's warmth.
What the hell is that?
Second person, I think.
Second person. That's pretty cool. So it's like it's happening to us.
After another long day of helping the owners with their farming duties, and the rest in the calm, dwindling sunlight as always the way to go, of course your legs were strong enough to buck the trees or anything. But you were always there to pick up the remaining apples and carry a couple extra buckets with your hands, or attending to other farm duties. Your whatever work helps you take your mind off things. You hear the sound of somebody, or as they would put it, some pony, trying towards you from the family barnhouse. The clomping sound was too light for the older stallion, Big Mac, but too heavy to mistake that pitter-patter of little Apple Bloom. You know exactly those who those footsteps belong to. You'd never forget. Hey, Applejack, you call without even opening your eyes. Howdy, you daydreamer, she replies teasingly. Mind if I take a seat too? You pat the ground next to you. It's your orchard. Go right ahead. He's got a point.
That's true.
We hear a quick shuffling sound as she sits down, followed by the warm press of her leaning against your shoulder. Aww. That's so cute. You've had a fairly strong friendship with her ever since she walked into her life and her whole world. And now that you think about it, you know, Applejack, there's something I still can't get my head around. You tell her. What is it, sugar? Whoa. Well, that is one of her sayings, even though she left the word cube out of it. You raise your hand, pointing towards the orange sphere that sinks behind the distant mountains. That's not my son. Some magical white horse in a castle is causing the thing to rise and fall of her own will. Same deal with the moon, too. I know that much already. The mare keeps quiet, waiting for you to continue. The sun and moon where I come from doesn't do that. They can't. And if it's not my sun or moon, I'm clearly on a different planet. Which doesn't make a lick of sense. He paused, thinking about how to follow that up. If I'm on a different planet now, how the heck did I walk here?
He walked there? How? All the stories I've heard where ponies are in Equestria, they either go through like a portal or they wake up. But how do you walk to Equestria? I want to walk to Equestria. Oh, there's no TV though. Okay, let's go.
Is that what's troubling you? She turns to you. Maybe you should check with Twilight tomorrow night at the party. She might have gotten word from Canterlot on how you got here by now. The party, of course, that bubbly pink one. Pinkie Pie, was it? Has always wanted to throw you a welcoming party, just like she does with every new Ponyville resident. Oh.
Of course, Pinkie.
Yeah, being the party mare that she is.
She's awesome.
Yeah. You would have had it earlier, but when you first stepped foot in this strange new, unintentionally, you just wanted a quick walk. The inhabitants were more than a little wary of you. As a result, the royal guards have been called to escort you to some fancy palace where the kingdom's princess, or as you kept calling her, Queen Pony, assigned her most prized people to examine and interview you. And by interview, you must have meant interrogate. After being looked over for the 100th time, they finally allow you to find a lodging in Equestria, while they try to find out how to send you back home. And so you're living in Ponyville under the kindly offer roof of the Apple family, whose upbeat friendliness makes you feel more than welcome. Why the Apple family? Because they were on the outskirts of town and living anywhere else would risk scaring the Ponyville residents. Hopefully the welcoming party should remedy that.
That's true.
The only problem was getting the other ponies in town to attend, which was perfectly understandable considering that you are
what you are.
You are what you are. To the citizens of Ponyville, it's like you're saying, hey, there's this creepy-looking alien from another world that's been lurking in our town for the past month or so. Let's all go and dance and party with it. What's the worst that could happen? In fact, that's pretty much how Pinkie Pie said it.
Yeah, that makes me feel good, Pinkie.
There was another pony who had an equally remote house about a bright yellow Pegasus with wings. A Pegasus, of course.
Fluttershy.
Yeah. That took care of various animals. However, she seemed far too fearful to make around you to make a good housemate. You somehow doubt she'd be at the party. You know what, Sugar Cube? Applejack nudges you reassuringly. Even if we never find out how to point you back to home, you're always welcome to stay at Sweet Apple Acres. You've been a mighty fine addition to the family. Daw! You, with a wary smile, you hold your friend using your strange 5-digit hands. Thanks, Applejack. Something stirs in your chest as you hold her. You know the signs of infatuation all too well. You also know how dangerous it is. Not too sure of how Equestria sees relationships between other species. Well, from where you come from, it's either humans or humans. Nothing else. It's just wrong otherwise.
Yeah, right.
Which is why, with a pang of regret, you admit to yourself that will never be. The soft, fine fur of her coat, the blonde mane and tail tamed by red hairbands, and her cowboy hat. The cute freckles that nestle between her smile and her eyes. And green and her eyes as green as the leaves in her orchard.
Man, that's gotta suck, you know what I mean? You're like, there's no humans around, so you really can't do nothing. Like,
yeah.
Otherwise, you just be like, that's disgusting. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I don't know. I guess if you were trapped in Equestria, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
But still, it's not right.
That was random of you to say, but I don't care. Let's get on with this. None of that will be
I
yours.
feel
You're not
for the
allowed
guy.
to think of her like that. She's a pony, a horse, a beast, and since you have arrived, your best friend.
Well, I feel for the guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Still, it's always a pleasure to hold her like this. Aww.
Hmm.
You share the rest of the evening with your companion, watching Celestia's sun disappear behind the mountains, supporting the city of Canterlot in the distance. The sky burns orange as the merrier homing and it feels just as warm. Even if it's not the sun you know back home, it's still beautiful, a beautiful thing to look at. The sun and her. Come on back inside, she finally says as the sky grows dark, before we catch ourselves a chill. Nodding, you pull yourself up and head towards the Apple family's home, ready for a good night's rest. You have had a long evening ahead of you tomorrow, whether you know it or not.
Alright, well, then next chapter, chapter 2.
Chapter 2, and lucky for us, I can click on next chapter right here.
Excuse me.
Chapter numero 2.
That's just the title, okay.
Yeah, just called Part 2, whatever. The next day passes like any other. You wake up in the Apple family's guest bedroom where you pretty much live these days. You make your way down to help Applejack and Granny Smith with breakfast. You didn't know that there were such thing as apple brioche, whatever, pizza until they pointed out that the ridiculous amount of recipes you could make with apples.
I want apple pizza! That sounds awesome!
After breakfast, thinking to yourself
I'm
about how
gross.
long you've had a good burger or maybe a nice steak dinner in this world.
Little
Little Apple Bloom would make her way to school while you, Applejack, and Big Macintosh get started sorting the farm equipment.
Yeah, that'd be like one of the only things I would hate, you know, like not being able to have meat.
Then much of your day would be spent carrying the spare buckets of apples from the orchard back to the barn or tending to small cornfield and grapevine extensions, where your dexterous hands would be more useful than hooves. Well, duh.
Yeah.
And a picture of Sweet Apple Acres again.
Well, that works.
Yeah. All this daily work, along with the change to your diet since you started living here, has already made you feel healthier and heartier than you have in your old life. Your old life, huh? Saying that makes you wonder if or when you'll return. Would you, if you even had the choice? Such philosophing is the norm when you're working. On one hand, you miss the interaction with people, your own species, and the concept of finding that special somebody is impossible while you're in Equestria. Not when you're the only human there. On the other hand, you'll be able to willingly leave a world that, as far as you're aware, has nearly no crime. A world which everything is vibrant and lively. A world where magic actually exists.
Man.
You could leave, perhaps, and find somewhere nice on Earth to live with a nice human girl. Maybe you could start a farm. All the tips and tricks the Apple family taught will work with the apple trees back there. Well, you could really turn around to the ponies who took you in and give them a place to live and food to eat and say goodbye. That would be the hard thing for me. If I actually could go back, it would be hard for me to say goodbye.
Yeah.
At about midday, a pink blur rushes into the farm, its saddlebags brimming with party supplies. Pinkie Pie greets you, clearly as hyperactive as usual about hosting the party, and darts into the main barn where the party is being held to set up the decorations.
Oh, Pinkie.
You'll never change, will you?
We don't want her to change.
No, we don't.
When she became Pinkamena, I was like, ugh.
That doesn't suit her at all.
No.
The sun goes about its usual business as the hours pass by, and eventually you're putting away the last of the stuff with Big Macintosh. At this time of day, you'd usually hang around inside the Apple's house, listening to Granny Smith ramble or answer a torrent of questions. Little Apple Bloom would throw your way, or just talk for hours on end with Applejack. She always said she enjoys your company. After all. Later, you go out and nap under the usual apple tree as the sun went down. At least that was the usual day plan. This evening, however, takes a turn for the jauntier as Pinkie Pie places the last ribbon over the side of the wall and tables decked out with huge bowls of punch cakes big and small, cheese and crackers, vegetable pies and pastries, and all sorts of sweet and savory things to snack on. The record player has a cheerful tune, suiting the party atmosphere. The 2 barrels of apple cider are in the corner of the room, the third one already hooked up to a spigot. Perfect. Your throat's been feeling a little dry.
Not really a big fan of apple cider, to be honest with you.
The guests arrive slowly as as slowly as you, Pinkie Pie, and the Apple family talk the evening away, sipping on your tankards of cider. Most of the talking is done by Pinkie, of course. However, Apple Bloom continues to rapidly question you about your homeland as usual. The idea of plugging Eggbox into TV and playing it still befuddles her. And if you thought one curious filly was bad enough, two more soon appear, redishing their invitations. Friends of Apple Bloom, no doubt. Luckily, they were chaperoned by the eye-catching white unicorn you recognized as Rarity. You remember standing still for 4 hours in her boutique as she took your measurements. After she took up the challenge of making you a set of human clothes, you just couldn't wear the same things you arrived in after all. That's true. Now, dears, she tells them, I'm sure that's enough questions for one day. He's our honored guest of the party, after all. In a rare act of obedience, really?
Being obedient?
That is rare.
Very.
With three fillies, what about their own business, playing in and out of the barn as the way kids on Earth do? Duh. Similarities between this world and yours are almost fascinating as the differences.
Oh, understandable.
So how long you think before the end of breaking something? The unicorn asked Applejack while helping herself to the punch. Don't worry, Rarity. They'll be going to bed in a few hours. I'll wager they'll tucker themselves out by then.
Most likely.
Minutes pass as your cider tankard drains, and soon the other guests arrive. Two Pegasi, one significantly pluckier than the other, Rainbow Dash, followed by a unicorn and her dragon assistant, Twilight. They call the unicorn Twilight Sparkle. You lovingly called her the Purple Interrogator. The little dragon's cool, however.
Spike!
Come on, Fluttershy, he's not that ugly. The rainbow-maned Pegasus tries her best to coax her animal-loving friend into taking a seat. You take care of way more dangerous creatures in your own backyard. At least humans don't have claws. Fluttershy responds with a cautious squeak. Oh, she squeaks. Trust me, I probably wouldn't be able to hurt you if I tried, you tell her. I couldn't even kick a single apple out of the trees without nearly breaking my foot. Isn't that right, Big Mac?
Can I do this part?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was all the convincing it took for her to at least calm down, but she still seems wary around you. Well, it's a start, you suppose.
That's understandable. I mean...
Hey, Twilight, you lean over to her, recalling what you want to ask her. Is there any news from Canterlot about me? According to the latest letter, we are no longer focused on studying you as a species, she said, telekinetically helping herself to some punch and pastries. Seeing unicorns do that still unnerves you a little. We're more focused on looking for the sweet spot where you walked into our world. Celestia's been sending scouts to find that spot in Equestria, and if they do, they can point you back home again through it. Does this mean I don't need to be hooked up with those weird machines you have in your library anymore? I said I was sorry. Like she did to Pinkie. Hold on a minute, Pinkie declares in the room. Is this every pony here? She looks around and makes a quick head count.
Excuse me.
Herself, her best friend, Spike, the three Cutie Mark Crusaders gallivanting around the barn, and Macintosh, that's 11 guests, not counting Granny Smith, who went to bed a few hours ago. The humans' big welcoming party. What? Was that it? Did nobody else want to come? My welcoming party bashes are usually huge.
It's a human.
Your welcoming party bashes usually don't include humans as guests of honor. Applejack reminds her dryly before turning to Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy. Which reminds me, don't you two have boyfriends? Why aren't they here?
The what? They do?
Fluttershy blushes at the question. Rainbow Dash visibly flinches. Well, he offered to stay at my house looking after Angel while I'm here. Fluttershy mumbles, pawing at the ground with the hoof. Poor Bunny's sick from eating a bad carrot, you see.
He must have written other stories with, when they had boyfriends or something.
Well, I know what they're talking about. Crowley wrote a fanfiction called Even Kindness Needs Kindness, where Fluttershy meets some pony else.
Oh yeah, and then he also wrote that other... I haven't read it, but it's called Spreading Your Wings and Hers.
Jinx.
Maybe we should read that someday.
What about your boyfriend, Dash? Rookie, is it? Yep, that's Spreading Your Wings and Hers, definitely. Dash's ear twitches just hearing his pet name again.
Pet name.
Her despondent sigh tells it all. I don't want to talk about it. After that, she gulps down the last of her cider into an empty tankard and drags herself up to refill it. Something must have happened.
Oh.
Forny Pony follows up Dash's bare statement with another question. She adds, I said something I didn't mean to say, and it hurt his feelings, alright? It's really complicated. Let's put the problem aside and just for this night. I don't want to be a damper on the party. We understand, Rainbow. We can talk about it whenever you feel up to it, Twilight says before turning to the party organizer. Pinky, you sent out invitations to every pony in town, right? Yep, every pony, like any other welcoming party. And how about every pony there? Are you girls the only ones who would turn up? The orange pony seems somewhat insulted on your behalf of the unimpressed turnout. But why? Just because he's not like other ponies doesn't mean he ought to be feared. I don't mind, really, you reassure. If no pony else wants to come, so be it. More food and drink for us. With that, you put a friendly arm around your friend. Besides, as long as you're here, Applejack, that's all that matters. Aw! Aw, shucks. She smiles playfully, nuzzling up to you. You find it so cute when she does that. You and your smooth talk. So apparently, in this comic, you're a bit of a smooth talker.
This fiction, not comic.
The night drifts on as the second barrel of cider replaces the first. Apple Lou and her friends disappear upstairs where they would sleep over. Yep, they're out like a light. Meanwhile, you and Spike just finish up a third game of rock, paper, scissors. Man, it's been so long since I've last played this, Spike chuckles mischievously. You have no idea how awkward it is to play this in front of a town full of ponies.
Yeah, I guess. Rock, paper, scissors, shoe. Just rock every time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I win every time.
Yeah. You boys enjoy your Danity non-contact finger game, scoffs Rainbow Dash, placing her cider tankard on the nearby table. Hoof wrestling is when you get a real challenge. Hey, Applejack, want to show these guys how it's done? Dash places the foreleg on the table, gesturing for her friend to sit opposite. Hold on there, Sugar. If I remember rightly, you already beat me in an Iron Pony competition last fall. Applejack smirks, nodding her head towards her brother. So I reckon you should kick it up a notch. Ain't that so, Big Mac?
Yep.
The rainbow-haired pony looks at Macintosh up and down, rubbing her chin. After a moment's thought, she speaks. Let's make it interesting. If I win, I get to take the last cider barrel home for myself.
That's it.
Applejack and Big Macintosh exchange looks. If you lose, oh, you can do Big Mac.
Oh, wait, what? Where were we?
Applejack and Big Macintosh exchange looks.
And if you lose,
Mac replies,
you have to help out on the farm for a whole day.
Oohs and ahs sound out from the other partygoers as Big Macintosh sits opposite Rainbow Dash, offering his hoop up in the to the challenge. Also, she's hoof wrestling Big Mac.
Oh my gosh.
Dash doesn't even hesitate before collapsing hooves with the Red Stallion. You're on. After 3, alright? 1, 2, 3.
Well, that's going to be the end of part 1.
Yeah, that is going to be the end of part 1. The first 2 chapters, like we said, the chapters aren't really that long. And we will be reading chapters 3 and 4 in the next part. This is JTH.
And Tailsthehero.
Saying goodbye.
Late. My Sonic just died.